Welcome back to the final episode of the season for Where North End Walk. And we did it. The topic of this first debate is let's never be here again. We're also thanking Ryan Ledson and looking forward, of course, to next season in the Championship. How's about that then, fellas? I told you there was nothing to be worried about, didn't I? Ash, how are you feeling?
Relieved, mate. Yeah, we didn't do it ourselves, though, did we? We had to rely on everybody else to fail. But take the positives. Yeah, at least we got a
take
point.
Take the positives. Harvey, talk us through your heart rate. How were you? I mean, yeah, when Bristol City equalised, were you still okay knowing Luton was being bastards?
Yeah, I honestly, like I didn't think I'd become that much of a West Brom fan in such a short space of time. To be honest, I was having I turned off all the notifications for like every other game that I follow, and it was just West Brom, Hull, and then Preston. Well, I was watching Preston, so every time it was another West Brom goal, I was thinking like, yes. Like, and the longer it went, the more I was like, all right, okay, well, we're all right. So it was just relief, to be honest.
Yeah, Etienne, yourself.
Yeah, like Tom Fellows, Daryl DK, where do you want your statues? Really, that's what I thought immediately. They did us a massive favour. I think we were doing what we needed to do, and as soon as I felt the pressure lifted off our shoulders, I was like, well, I'm not really fussed. Bristol City can go have a bit of fun in the playoffs, but yeah, look, it was a good game, especially with Luton getting battered at the same time. It's a mega relief.
Yeah, it did help, didn't it? That I think West Brom went 4-1 up at one point, and there's no coming back, Ash, from that. Is that you could have lost that 6-0 and still been absolutely fine.
You say that. I was sat on the couch saying to the missus, I was like, I just come back to 5-3. They could come back. Like 2 minutes left, you're fine. I was like, I'm not believing it until it's done.
That is a typical Preston fan, isn't it? Anyway, we are safe. And look, as a neutral, delighted to have, as someone in the Northwest, obviously, to have North End back with us. But Harvey, we can't be here again, can we? And that's what our focus now needs to become. What have you read from the fallout? What's the fans' take on it? Where's the fingers pointing now, a week on from our chat last week about it being Ridsdale or Heckingbottom or the players? Where we're at?
I've only seen one or two say Heckingbottom, and even still, I don't think that's fair. A lot of it is, I think the main majority is higher ups. Ridsdale. I think there was something about like a post that was deleted. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but something to do with Ridsdale. But yeah, I think that's definitely where it needs to start. And then it also needs to start with Heckie's massive clear out, and would hopefully just go from there, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look at some tweets from it, shall we? Lou says, can finally breathe. New defence badly needed. New keeper. Need some creativity in midfield. Desperately need pace on the flanks. It's a whole new team, isn't it? There was so much work to do next season. Let's not put us in this position again. And we did have this from the Seasiders podcast. Ash, I don't know if you saw this. The tricolour scarves at the ready. Louise was so sad. Yeah, any response to that? Just polite.
Yeah, they've got nothing better to do, have they? I think they had a whole thread on their forum. Someone said about us going down, which we didn't, and it'll be a nice season for them in League One anyway, won't it? So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you tweeted about this as well yourself, Ash. No title for Burnley, no playoffs for Rovers, and Preston staying off. Actually turned into a perfect day for you overall, didn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty good day all around, to be honest. Like, there was no complaints from me. I pretty much tweeted that verbatim as well. So I think quite a few people have said the same thing, but what a way to end the season.
Yeah, brilliant. Right then. So we've got this. So PNE Online, of course, a great organisation. They've done lots for the. So they've been talking about we stayed up and whatever relief it was, but change is needed. Then we had this account, which some have suggested it might be a burner account for Ridsdale. Not sure how true that is. He says 10 consecutive seasons in the Championship, competing with one of the smallest budgets, with exception of this year, finishing no lower than 14th. And these clowns, as in PNE, want change. What is it exactly you want? Now that was met with some derision. Where do you stand, Harvey, on this one? With the big groups calling, we want change. What change could possibly happen? We know Hemmings puts the money in, keeps the club afloat. What more of these groups demanding?
That is the problem, though. That is it. Exactly what you've just said is the problem. The owners pay money to keep us afloat. That's it. There's no ambition. There's no drive to go any higher. So where that post is tweeting, what exactly do we want? As fans, I want to be able to watch my club do something better than sit mid-table every season, because it's really boring. It shows no ambition. There's no drive. There's no fight. There's no... It genuinely looks like there is no long-term plan or future for the next 10, 15 years, because as long as we pay the bills and we sit all happy-do-lally in the Championship, then it doesn't matter. But that's the problem. It has to start somewhere. The owners have to look at this season, especially, where you have massively underachieved from your mid-table comfortable zone, and think, right, this isn't where we can be as a club, because we've got here as a club from accepting mediocrity year after year. And now it should be the mindset of, let's invest a bit more money, let's back the manager, let's get some players that he actually wants and see what we can do going forward. And then that is a long-term plan that the club need to work on.
I mean, just taking this out from Etienne, if you are injury-free and you have your best 11, that side does not finish anywhere near where you have done. We agreed on that, aren't we? We have to take a slice of, you've lost some key players in midfield in particular.
I don't think it's necessarily that, though. I feel like as a successful Championship squad, you should be able to rely on some of your backup players and go, look, some of our main players are injured. You guys need to step up, and it just seemed to crumble. The issue is the mentality, I think, and the players with this negative mentality that we've seen for years and years and years, they need to go. I can echo everything Harvey just said then. But, yeah, look, again, we did have injuries. Yes, you do have to take a bit of slack for the squad, but at the end of the day, they should not be collapsing like that. We should be mid-table, and we weren't. We almost got relegated, and that could have cost us years and years of progress. So, look, yeah, you're allowed to cut a little bit of slack, but these players should go, okay, we need to step it up. We're a mid-table Championship side like right now. We should stay there, and we didn't.
Yeah, well said. Ash James says, thank God for West Brom. Let the clear-out begin, starting from the top. Been absolutely shambolic. Colin says it's a season to forget. Shocking. We seriously need to improve defensively for next season. I've read the word clear-out more often than any other word on North End posts over the weekend. But where's that clear-out start and end, Ash?
I wish it would start with Ridsdale, but it's not likely, is it? I don't think the owners will fund the club without him in charge, so I can't see him going. But he's the biggest issue. And then just rip that squad to bits. Just get rid of pretty much 90% of them, maybe. Start from the back. Apparently, we've agreed a deal for a goalkeeper in Iverson already. Start there. But I think the biggest issue, I noticed that tweet said we need a lot of improvement defensively. I'm of the opinion that we need to improve the attack first and foremost. Because if they were better and we had attacking outlets, there wouldn't be as much pressure on the defence. And I think we've got a couple of decent defenders, and with a better attack and stronger midfield in front of them, I think we'd do a lot better.
We'll talk about Ledson in a second. But first, we'll just a quick word on Kane Kesler-Hayden. Harvey, obviously, we think he's played his last game. And was he at fault for the goals Bristol City scored?
He is, but I think, like even Heckingbottom touched on it, it is very hard as a wing back to try and do both jobs, especially when you are that player that on the wide side, your job is to do both. You want to be able to create stuff, but also defend. And I think sometimes if you've just bombed it all the way up the pitch, you've lost a little bit of your energy, and it makes it that little bit harder to get back. So yeah, you could argue, but I think that obviously the defenders on his side also need to cover him and do a little bit better, really. But yeah.
Overall, though, Etienne, has he been one of your better loans?
Yeah, one of the best we've had since we come up. Not spectacular in terms of output, but just for the work that he puts in and the impression he's left on the fans. Yeah, I think any Preston fan would be crazy if they said they didn't want to bring him in permanently.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think he gets in that Villa side, does he, Ash?
No,
I can't see.
Probably a lot of people won't agree with this. I don't think he'll quite make it at that level. I think he has potential to be good. I don't think he's going to be like top 8, top 10 Premier League standard. It's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But I think kind of maybe low end Premier League, top of the Championship, and he's one of the, he's a consistent performer. So I think he'd be good at that level.
Okay. Right, let's talk about Ledson then, shall we? Kurt says, "I love Ryan Ledson." That's it. That is the tweet. So that is what we've put up there. All right, and Ash, talk about your love for Ryan Ledson, please.
Yeah, if you'd have asked me to start the season, if I'd have been desperate to keep him, I don't know if I would have been. But this year, he's proved in his last year, he puts 100% in every performance. He cares about the club. I think he's probably one of maybe one or two players that actually really give a damn about Preston. And he looked sad at the end of the game, and I know he went over to the fans and he was kind of pushed over because he probably felt a bit awkward about it, but he's given 100%. I'd probably have given him another 12 months based on the effort he's put in, and comparing that to some of the other midfielders that have just not looked bothered, or some of the other players overall. It's tough to replace. I think we lost a lot of that with Brown and Cunningham going the back end of last season, is players that have a history with the club and really care. And I think we've seen a big drop off this season. We need to bring in some strong dressing room players next year, because with him gone now, I worry about that, and worry about the players that are at the club and if they really care, or if we're just a stepping stone.
Yeah. So look at some more, shall we? Jack says, it's the correct call in my opinion. Ledson has been an impressive servant for North End, always works hard and faces the wrath of the media when we've had some tough results. The best version of him, Harvey, was in 2021. And it's a good time to hit the refresh button. Hope he excels in his next move. Do you agree with all that's there?
I wouldn't say agree. I agree with all of it, but I think it's very similar to what Ash has just said. Obviously he's been a great servant to the club. I don't think anybody can match him in terms of his passion and the fact that he wears his heart on his sleeve each week. Game in, game out. But I do think that, in terms of, again, it's all about that forward thinking, and I think if there's going to be a squad clear out and we want to, look into the future for Hecky and his own players, I do think that unfortunately he does need to go. But for me, I also would have given him 12 months, just because, like Ash said, we don't really have any leaders in the team. And I think that somebody like that can change your mindset and go into games. So I'll be really sad to see him go, and I do think we should have extended it for another year.
Okay. Just one more on this, Etienne. Liam says, "I'll tell you what, opinions changed that this season. I'll be very sad to see Ryan Ledson go. It was hard to see him. Clappers today could see how much it meant to him." And Liam here says, "If Ryan Ledson doesn't end up at Wigan and is the captain there next season, I'll eat my hat." Good luck to him, but it's the correct decision. Is it the correct decision for you, Etienne?
Yeah, I'm fully on board with the fact that, as much as he shows 100% commitment, as much as he really does care about the club, a lot of fans have been saying we need to get rid of him for a long time. And I think that opinion shouldn't change. It's just a case of we need to freshen up that midfield. We need to freshen up this squad. I don't think you can say we need a mega rebuild and then go, okay, we need to give this guy a new contract. I do think it is time for him to move on. I do think he's still championship quality. I'd be surprised if he did end up at Wigan. I think he should go to either Portsmouth or Oxford, because they're crying out for somebody like him. But for me, it is time to move on.
Right. Brilliant. Before we move on to the final bit, then, just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who supported this channel over the last 39 weeks. We've been talking about North End. If you've liked it, subscribed to it, or shared it in any content, we've hugely appreciate it. There's loads of great Preston podcasts out there. This is just another one which we're trying to grow across our network. Let's wrap up then. Amidst all of that relegation stuff going on then, Ash, Luton went down in the end. Hooray. Surprise you at all that a team with parachute payment can end up so bad and in the relegation zone?
They've just got it completely wrong. Yeah, they got it completely wrong, didn't they? It's really, really quite weird. I probably wouldn't have sacked the manager when they did either. It's a weird. I thought they'd stay up. I really thought last day. I thought it was going to be Hull that would go down. Obviously, they just got smashed by West Brom, Luton, and not much you can do. But What I thought when they went up to the Premier League is they'd bought this kind of squad that was going to destroy the Championship the season after. That's what it looked like. Like they'd gone and bought a team to get them back up, and I don't know what's gone wrong. It's really quite weird. It's almost similar to our situation, apart from the fact we didn't go up in terms of the squad's just collapsed. And yeah, it's a shame for them. I can't say I'm too disappointed by it because I don't really care about them.
No, of course.
It's just weird to see. Yeah, I would. If you'd have asked me at the start of the season who would have gone up, they would have probably been in my top 6.
Yeah, of course. There was a lot of chatter around Preston. I don't know if you've heard, listened to much radio or coverage about it. Lots of media outlets were saying they're worried about Preston, saying Preston were going to go down. We had that other podcast we can't talk about, putting out that you deserve to go down and all that. But hey, we're glad you stayed up. Right, Harvey, the other end of the table, then we got playoffs going on. Not that you could care one hoot, one bit, but who would you like to see go up?
Anybody except Sheffield United, to be honest, because I think it's just because they're probably it's not even anything against Sheffield United. I think it just, you need something different. I think every season it just seems to be the same. You know, the Leeds, Burnley, Sheffield United in the Premier League get battered every weekend and come straight back down. So I think it needs to change. If I had to pick one, it'd obviously just have to be Bristol City. You know, come up with us, been with us in mid-table for years, and I think the progression story that they've had in the last 3 seasons and the last few years has warranted them being there. You know, like they recruit very well, they invest very well, and I'd love to see them go up, to be honest. Yeah,
and that's the model, isn't it, Etienne? You'd hope, you know, you guys have, isn't it, that you invest bit by bit each year, improve the squad, improve the training ground, improve everything, and end up in a position where you challenge.
Yeah, 100%. We need to be not copying their model, but taking inspiration. We went up at the same time. We've been in this journey together. And for us to still be sat in 20th, still struggling whilst their project is now succeeding, you feel a bit jealous, but you also go, you know what, fair enough. It's another club that wants to have their first season in the Premier League. I, for one, hope it's Sunderland who go up. But you know what, I wouldn't mind too much if Bristol City went up as well.
In a minute, we'll ask you for your 3-word summary of the season. No swearing, please. So get thinking on that. Put yours in the comments. Ash, one final bit. The one change we've seen in the season, I want to get your impression on is the 12:30 kickoffs. The amount of Championship football on TV has been more than ever before. We've seen Preston live on a Friday night against Sheffield United. We've seen you against Blackburn on a Sunday. The 12:30 one is new. How have you found it as a fan in terms of? I know you've not got to your seat on time many times, but that's I'm not sure that's a result of the kickoff. What's been the impact on atmospheres, attendance? Is it something that's a new nuisance in Championship football, or if we just learn to live with it?
It's kind of hard to judge for us because the atmosphere is pretty poor, whether it's 12:30, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock. You could put us in there at 6 in the morning. It wouldn't be much different. I actually, this season, have been a big fan of playing early game on a Saturday because it's been so boring. At least it's out the way. So I can just do whatever I want for the rest of that Saturday and not worry about it. But I think in general, like football should be 3 o'clock on a Saturday, shouldn't it? I think every game, there's enough TV channels to put every game on. Just put them all on at the same time. Let us play at 3 o'clock like we should be doing. Maybe have one game later or something. But there's been games on like stupid weekdays. They're the ones that I have a problem with. And it's just like, why are we moving our game to facilitate someone else playing? Just put them on at the same time.
Yeah. Etienne, you cover grassroots football in your other role. Do you think these early kickoffs have an impact?
Yeah.
In terms of people not being able to support grassroots, do you think that people might try and get into 2 games or might alternate, but they won't go to a grassroots game when they're playing away because they'll watch the away game on telly at 12:30 instead, stay at home?
The thing is with Charnock, sometimes we struggle when fans go to watch Preston or Blackburn. If they've got 12:30 kickoff, fans will then struggle to get down to Charnock in time because, to get out the city and then go to another game, pay for that other game, it's just a bit extra effort. So, yeah, from my standpoint, I do like him myself sometimes. Like, I like the variety, whether it's 12:30 or 3, because if you go to a 12:30, like I said, you've got the rest of the day. But, again, that doesn't suit everyone. And I think we're just moving games for the TV company's sake, trying to make more money, trying to make more space. to put, Wrexham and Birmingham over and over and over again. So, yeah, I agree. I think all games should be moved back to 3 p.m. and I think fans should have the choice of which games they want to go watch and not be kind of forced to follow their scheduling.
Harvey, you agree?
Yeah, I think it's like, this is why I'm dreading this season, because obviously Wrexham and Birmingham are coming up and Sky just absolutely loves them, which just means that every month it's going to be, you've got this fixture move, just to support the teams like that. So, yeah, I think the main problem is Sky care more about money than fans, and I think it really shows. And I think going forward, they need to be a lot more mindful of that, especially if they're going to do fixture changes on a whim, just to be a bit more accommodating.
Oh, absolutely. We're just waiting for the first fixture of the season to be Preston versus Wrexham, and there'll be all the headlines, won't it? Deadpool at Deepdale and all of that nonsense. Yeah, just wait for it. Yeah. Right, let's get your three-word summary, then we'll let you go for the summer. I promise. There's a last bit I'm going to force you to talk about Preston. Etienne, can you summarise this season?
Shouldn't have happened.
Ash?
In terms of the battle.
Yeah, got it.
I'm going to go really, really boring.
Harvey?
Mine would be wake up call.
Okay, I like that. Good stuff. All right. Just one final thank you, of course, to you three for all your time and efforts every single week talking to this. It's been genuinely a pleasure because it's been so entertaining throughout most of it, that your different takes on it. Sometimes I listen to some podcasts and I switch off after 5 minutes, but I have to say, listening to you three and the tribulations you go through each week watching your club has been entertaining for me. I know it hasn't been the same for you, but thank you so much for everything you've done for us this season. We'll give you a couple of months off now as a reward, and we'll see you hopefully back on July the 27th ahead of the August 3rd kickoff, when we've got brand new kits, brand new players, and hopefully a Preston side that can go and challenge for something. Not 13th. We'll see you then. Have a good one.